You drop $3, maybe $400 on a brand new wearable. You're highly motivated. But if you take it off a few months later and leave it on your nightstand, that investment is a total loss. Marketing campaigns promise that tracking every heartbeat and sleep cycle will optimize your health. The physical reality of those campaigns is much less glamorous. You have to keep a battery-powered sensor strapped to your body, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right now, the competition for your body real estate comes down to two dominant options: the smartwatch for your wrist and the smart ring for your finger. If you are worried about which one is more accurate, you can relax. Both of these form factors pack incredible, highly advanced biometric technology that gets the job done. The actual decision you have to make is a trade-off. You are weighing form factor friction, how annoying the device is to wear, against real-time utility, how quickly and easily you can use the data it gathers. There is no objective best tracker on the market. The real goal is to identify which physical design will actually survive contact with your specific daily routine. This chart breaks down how to evaluate options. On the horizontal axis is daily friction. This is the physical and psychological toll of wearing the device. A heavy, bulky gadget sits on the high end, while something light sits on the low end. On the vertical axis, we have real-time utility. This measures your ability to act on your data exactly when it's being generated. Instant on-screen pacing is high utility, while having to dig out your phone to sync stats is low utility. Because a smart ring relies on passive, screenless hardware, it lands over here. It offers very low daily friction, but because you can't view your stats instantly, it also has low real-time utility. A smartwatch, with its interactive, screen-heavy hardware, lands on the exact opposite side. You get very high real-time utility, but at the cost of high daily friction. Choosing between a ring and a watch comes down to deciding which of these quadrants you are willing to tolerate. Let's test this framework at night. Sleep metrics form the baseline for nearly all recovery algorithms. When you wear a smartwatch to bed, the tight fit against your wrist provides incredibly precise, highly accurate data on your sleep stages. The trade-off is comfort. Side sleepers often find the bulk of a watch presses painfully into their wrists or face. Plus, there is the psychological friction of waking up and immediately seeing a backlog of unread notifications glowing on your arm. Swap that out for a smart ring, and the physical friction nearly vanishes. It sits quietly on your finger, collecting your sleep data without getting in the way. But you lose the utility. If you wake up in the dark, you can't easily check the time. You can't set a silent, vibrating wrist alarm to wake you without disturbing your partner. To check your resting heart rate, you have to reach for your smartphone. Over months and years, this dynamic creates a stark difference in compliance. Lightweight rings tend to stay on fingers all night, while bulky watches are frequently abandoned on bedside chargers. The most accurate sleep sensor on the market provides zero data if the discomfort forces you to take it off. The equation flips entirely when we move into active, midday workouts, where your body is constantly in motion. If you are running or cycling, you often need to adjust your effort on the fly. A smartwatch allows you to check your heart rate zones and modify your pacing with a quick glance at your wrist. Watches also offer phone-free independence. You can map a GPS route and stream music over a cellular connection, leaving your phone completely behind.
Rings cannot replicate this. Take that ring into the gym, however, and the situation gets worse. When you grip a knurled steel barbell, the metal of the ring grinds against the bar. This damages your hardware and pinches the skin on your finger, making heavy lifts painful. This diagram shows exactly what happens physically under that pressure. Gripping the weight flexes the muscle and pushes the ring's optical sensors away from your blood vessels. The data connection is severed right when your heart rate is spiking. Even on a treadmill, trying to use a ring to pace your cardio means you have to constantly hold or look at your smartphone to see your numbers, which defeats the convenience of wearing a tracker in the first place. Active tracking requires visual screens and unencumbered hands. Rings are strictly for passive gathering, not active coaching. Beyond the hardware, we have to look at the financial realities. The retail price is only the beginning. The smart ring market has largely adopted a hardware plus subscription model. You buy the device, and then you pay a recurring monthly fee to actually use it. This chart breaks down the total cost of ownership over a standard 3-year lifespan. On the left, a flat $400 smartwatch remains at $400. On the right, a $300 ring looks cheaper initially, but when you add 36 monthly payments of $6, the total cost outpaces the watch. That subscription funds the software synthesis, processing thousands of raw data points into a single, easily readable daily readiness score. Many ecosystem-native smartwatches, by contrast, provide your raw data without paywalls. You own the numbers, but you often have to put in more effort to interpret what they mean for your fatigue levels. A cheaper upfront sticker price does not equal a cheaper device. You have to calculate the total cost of ownership before locking yourself into an ecosystem. We map this to your lifestyle using a decision tree. Your choice rests on one question: what is your primary goal? For the passive optimizer, your goal is passive recovery and sleep. This path leads straight to a smart ring. The ring works for you because you want holistic data, but you refuse to sacrifice your aesthetic by wearing a glowing screen, or you simply prefer wearing a traditional mechanical watch on your wrist. If you are the active quantifier, your route goes directly to active workout pacing and connectivity, ending at a smartwatch. A watch is mandatory here. You require mid-activity metrics, and you value leaving your phone at home while staying connected on a long run. Finally, if you are the budget-conscious skeptic who resents recurring fees, your route drops down to a strict budget, leading directly to a non-subscription smartwatch. Purchasing a device outside of your specific behavioral segment practically guarantees that the tracker will eventually end up in a drawer. Your decision ultimately rests on that single trade-off: form factor friction versus real-time utility. Abandoning the search for the best overall device is the only way to a smart purchase. If you are still stuck, try this. Visualize your most exhausted state. Picture yourself gasping for air at the very end of a grueling run. Or picture yourself finally crawling into bed after a relentlessly long day. In that exact moment, which device are you actually willing to tolerate? The ultimate sign of a successful wearable investment is that the hardware becomes entirely invisible to your daily routine. Whether you choose a screen for your wrist or a passive sensor for your finger, the right choice is the one that actually gets worn.